If I am asked to sign an employment contract and refuse, can the company refuse to hire me?
All right. Well, thanks for that question. It's a really great question, and I wish I could give you a simple answer. The simple answer is maybe. But here's why I say that. If the company did things the right way, then there is no agreement in place, and they have every right to choose not to hire you. If the company did what is more common, which is to say you had an interview or perhaps a series of interviews, you discussed certain terms, and you agreed upon a start date, then you've effectively been hired. And once you've effectively been hired, you have a contract, and they can't refuse to go through with that. And this takes me back 25 years now to my first year contracts prof in law school. He used to explain that a contract is made up of an offer and an acceptance. So if there has been an offer of employment, and what that means is not just discussion of terms. It's normal that you go through the interview process, you're going to talk about things like the title, the duties, the reporting relationships. You're going to talk about compensation. You're going to talk about things like vacation. You may talk about things like, can you work from home, or will there be a car provided, or will you get a cell phone or a laptop? You can discuss all those terms without having a contract. But once you get to the point where you have agreed upon all those terms, where you get to the point where the company confirms that, yes, you've been hired, you'll be starting on a certain date, you now have a contract. And once the contract is in place, neither party can simply cancel it. And I should add, I'll digress really briefly, once you have that contract in place, you also can't replace it with a new contract. And this is where the vast majority of employers, including multinational companies, get it wrong. Because what they will do is they will have the person in for an interview, and they will make an offer, and the person will accept. And when the person shows up for their first day of work, they'll present them with a formal agreement. At that point, they already had a verbal agreement. Otherwise, why would they be there? They wouldn't be there for their first day of work unless they'd agreed to take the job. So to have them sign a new contract now is not going to be enforceable unless they get some sort of new benefit or new payment in exchange for the new deal. So coming back to your question, can they refuse to hire you? They can refuse to hire you if they haven't already hired you. Again, if you discuss certain terms, and then they said, and this is what we coach our employer clients to do, you've found your candidate, you found the one you want, you've agreed notionally on certain terms, you then say to the person, we'd love to hire you, all of the terms and conditions are laid out in a written contract, and you either physically say, here it is, or you say, we're going to email it to you. We want you to review that contract, get legal advice if you choose. If you accept, sign it. Once you've signed it, then we have a binding agreement. But you have not been hired until that happens. If they did it that way, and they've now presented the agreement, and you, for whatever reason, don't want to sign it, then they are perfectly within their rights to say, well, then you don't have a job. And this is where we often help people out, where we will do the negotiating either directly for them, working with the company, or in the background. We'll guide them as to, here are the terms that are of concern, here are the things that we think can be improved, and here's how we think you can improve them based upon our experience dealing with other contracts in similar industries with similar companies or maybe with the same company. Here's where we think you may be able to negotiate a better deal. And then either you will go back directly or we'll deal with the company directly and try to negotiate a better deal. And at some point, you'll reach the point where you say, you know what, we're not making any more progress. This is the best deal I can get. And either you take it or leave it. And at that point, if you choose to leave it, then the company is within their rights to say, well, then you don't have a job. So at the end of the day, what this comes down to is there already an agreement in place? If there is, then the company can't just refuse to go ahead. But if there's been no agreement to date, and now they've presented you with one, if you don't accept it, then you don't have acceptance. You have an offer, but you don't have acceptance, therefore you don't have a contract. If you already have a contract, then you've got a job, and if they refuse to allow you to come to work, then you most definitely should go see an employment lawyer.